Yeah, so this is most definitely the very last match of the summer tournament. We're gonna find out who goes home with $1,000 or $500, and it looks like we're off.
We are, with some magic powder in the first chest in Link's house.
Well, that's an interesting start. It looks like both of these guys are currently planning on doing the escape right away, at least checking Uncle and seeing maybe what's down on Zelda sell.
Yeah, also be more than likely checking this tree pole as well. That's why they bring that sign up here. To see if they can get some bombs or some rupees, and it is paying off with the level 120 rupee tree pole there.
Yeah, absolutely. Already having 80 rupees this early on, a good sign. You're definitely kind of set for the bottle vendor. It's not too hard to farm up another 20.
And if you want to, you can also get 2 kills right here, both just going for 1, so you can start working on those other tree poles as well. And just 2 pieces of heart here in the Uncle Cave.
Oh, both guys deciding, all right, that's enough for the escape for now. If you're getting 2 heart pieces here, the rest can't be that great.
No, they don't exactly have a lot they can use to fight enemies in the escape, so I guess it kind of makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
Did get a map check. Did see a crystal at the Tower of Hera and a pendant at Eastern Palace. Did not quite see desert though.
I believe it was also a crystal, but that map check was so quick, I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. And do have a slight divergence here. Only slight. Pikapals going north. Probably going to check the lumberjack tree while he's up here, while Andy going straight for the forest, getting another of the level 1 tree poles, because rupee is very important to have this early on in the seed. Finding the power glove in the forest and just 300 on the lumberjack ledge. So as of right now, Agahnim, not really what they're thinking about, but they may be forced to go through that anyway just to get to the Dark World, so we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we're already 1 step into the Dark World with a glove that Pika is going to be picking up in a second here. Seems like Pika wants to check the... oh, well, he takes damage there, so... A little confused why he killed that little green cucumber man.
Probably to, again, more tree pole action. Like, there is one where you need to get 4 kills without taking damage, but there's also just 1 for 4 kills in general, so he's probably going to still see what that one is, maybe.
Yeah, and Andy now, starting out his Kakariko run, definitely has enough money for the bottle mender. Ooh, look at that. That's a very nice tree pull.
It really is, and that'll actually be a little beneficial for him. As you see, Andy needs to buy some bombs right here. Pikapals will not have to do that, so he can save a little bit of time, only a few seconds, but still time regardless.
Yeah, it just feels pretty good when you can just go through Kakariko north to south and don't have to go down to the shop first, buy some bombs, and then make your way back up north just so you can, leave it back to the south and the race game and all that stuff down there.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, there's a Cane of Samaria. That's a very good start. Andy, meanwhile, picking up the bug net. Also, some people would say very important, other people would say not that important.
And also getting the blue mail inside the greenhouse as well, so that's kind of paying off as we're going to take out the other high-volume location in Kakariko. Got a fighter sword.
Nice, so now we can officially not only defend ourselves, we can also attack some stuff.
Mm-hmm. So far, that sword being the only major thing in here, though, but still, with that sword location possibly being anywhere, especially in open mode, just having some kind of weapon this early on is definitely nice, so could make the escape a valuable play coming up soon.
Yeah, we'll have to see what these guys decide after they're done with Kakariko. I assume both of them will go down and check out what's on the race game. And after that, I will be surprised to see a South Shore check. That's usually where people like to go. Could also be going over to Agahnim and maybe Eastern Palace if they feel like it.
Yeah, that's one of the things about open mode is quite literally at the very beginning, it is pretty open. There's a lot of different places where you can go and check it, like just different locations. And you can kind of change up your routing a little bit too to kind of compensate for that. Generally, you will see the Kakariko check first just because there are just a lot of items and those tree pulls along the way. But still, if you're feeling, wanting to kind of mix it up a bit, you can also go to like even Eastern Palace first if you really, really want to. So a lot of different things you can do in open mode.
All right, a heart container on top of the library. I doubt we'll see anyone go back for that.
Yeah, probably not.
And it looks like both Andy and Pika. No, Pika actually deciding to YOLO it here. I'm gonna go straight through the race game to find out what is there in case it's something useful. It doesn't cost too much time.
And with that power glove, Andy is going to be checking the back of Escape. 3 chests down here.
Oh, accidentally throws that bomb downwards towards that rat that he wanted to kill. No big deal.
Ooh, Bombos and the lamp.
Alright, so we're not going to have to deal with dark rooms anymore, and we got our first fire source. Pikapals doing exactly the same here, picking up his bombos and lamp just a couple of seconds later, while Andy is going to go with the South Shore check that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, generally if Kakariko is probably like the highest volume, at least this early on. South Shore, I'd say, would definitely be second place. You got 2 items here at the dam. You have 5 at Mini Moldorm Cave. If you want to make the long walk to Ice Cave, there's an item there as well. And if you have the necessary items, you can also do some fake flippering, regular flippering, and just other little sequence breaks here and there to get some other items as well.
It looks like Pika deciding to wrap this up from east to west, starting out in the Mini Moldom Cave.
Interesting.
Might even have that Ice Road Cave you were talking about in mind, even though I assume if he wanted to go there, he would have started all the way there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that, not exactly what you were hoping for in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, not really. Nothing too great in there, unfortunately. But yeah, you mentioned Pikapals did skip out on the dam, and I have seen some runners do this. They kind of skip out on the dam just to kind of give the Agahnim check a little more value, because normally you're walking all the way there for one item. This way, if you do want to go for that item, you can kind of go to the dam and at least justify it a little more by getting 2 extra ones on top of that. So it is definitely a viable strat you can use to just kind of give more value to a one-off location like Agahni's Cave.
And Pika masterfully dodging these traps here with the blue mail, not quite as dangerous as they usually are, but still very annoying.
Mm-hmm. And just a piece of heart in Ice Rod Cave. So, Pikapal's going to be saving and quitting yet again. Going to be going back to his house. So this could either be that play we were just talking about, or could even be going to the escape. But he is going back south, so we're going to see what's at Agahni's Cave very, very shortly.
Alright, Andy picking up his piece of heart. I'm curious to see what he decides to do next. There's really not too much open to him. Though with the lamp, he can get up on Death Mountain now, so I'm assuming that's where he's going to go.
Yeah, he'll be able to get 2 items up there if he wants to, since he skipped it earlier. He could also get the intel on the lumberjack tree. And he'll also get some intel on another item, the item that's on top of Spectacle Rock when he does go up the Death Mountain. So, going to be getting some information here at the very least.
Grabs that tier 2, I believe, triple that was with the 8 bombs. Probably wishes he would have done that earlier a little bit.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, Pika combining that dam check with Agina, so we're finding out pretty early on what is in one of those locations that runners like to put off as much as they can.
Yeah, and it's perfectly understandable to put it off as well. It's just really, really far out of the way, and sometimes you can get lucky and get the flute to make it a little more valuable, but especially this early on without the flute and boots, it's just a really, really far out of the way location. And it's just for a bottle of green potion that does open Sick Kid, but not a major, major progression item right now.
Yeah, we obviously don't know what Sick Kid has yet, but we might find out soon. I think Pika looks to be going back to escape here.
Mm-hmm. And just the upgraded shield on the old man here, so one more item to check, and we'll also see the Spectacle Rock on the top of the mountain anyway, the item up there as well. Needs to be careful, though. Down to 1 heart.
Yeah, these flying cabbages, they're not messing around.
This is why we had to eat our vegetables when we were younger, because they just they grow more powerful and then destroy us if we didn't. So
I like that. Alright, looks like Spectacle Rock pretty disappointing. And he's saving and quitting because he can't really get anywhere else up here. I guess it's time for Sahasrara.
Yeah, that looks to be where he's going. He could have also done the escape play as well, but looks like we are going to be seeing some more information over here.
Alright, let's see if the old man is hiding anything in his closet while Pika makes his way down to Zelda's cell. Here's another chance for an item. It is an item, but not one we want.
Yeah, not really.
Oh boy.
That's not an item you want to see at this point.
We're slowly but surely edging closer to that Aga 1 play. We've got a lamp, we've got a sword, and now we've got a cape.
Yeah, it looks like Andy is going to be going there, and this is going to be nice for him because, you know, he can Death Warp and just immediately go up to Aga Tower. Pika does have to go over to the Sashrala's house to get that cape.
Mm-hmm.
So Andy will save a little time by the way he routed this.
I'll be curious to see what he decides to do while he pumps his way over to the left there. Yep, straight up to Aga. Nope, decides to check escape first. Trying to bamboozle us here, Andy, come on.
I also want to say that Pika did not get a small key in the first part of Escape, so because of that, he knows the small key is going to be in the what would be a dark room otherwise, so that's why he didn't go for that chest in the sewers.
There's Pika's cape. Let's see what he decides to do. Looks like he's walking back out here, so that means to me that he's probably dipping into Eastern Palace. I like this play, even though, you know, you're kind of forcing a double dip on yourself if you have to come back here, and it's a pendant as well, but, you know, when you're playing against Andy, you're gonna try to get an edge wherever you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of different schools of thought here, because, you know, there is also still a small chance that Eastern could have, like, for example, the Moon Pearl and the Hammer, or the Moon Pearl and the Titansmith. And if that's the case, he could just end up having to be able to skip Aga, which Andy is not in that mindset right now. So, you know, there's a lot of things that could happen just in the nature of Randomizer.
Andy's setting up for his Death Warp here. Blows himself up with a bomb, and off to Aga we go, I would assume.
Yeah, at this point, I would assume that as well. And yeah, you also mentioned Eastern Palace being a pendant. Honestly, because... Oh, well,
Okay, that makes stuff a little more interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Death Mountain we can now get because of that. But yeah, as I was saying, because it's a pendant, you're not really in the mindset of finishing Eastern Palace anyway, so you could get all 3 items and then never have to come back here. So because of that, that's another thing that it could be valuable to come here, even if it is a pendant and it is kind of pointing to Agahnim, because you never know what you're going to get here. So I applaud Pika for going through with the gamble.
Yeah, and as we see, it's already paying off for him. I mean, that
Yeah.
hookshot will definitely need that at some point, even if it's maybe not immediately useful to him. We don't know what's on East Side Death Mountain yet, of course, but that hookshot will definitely come into play sooner or later. Pika quickly checking his menu if he's picked up any of the dungeon items, so he knows if it's worth it going down there or not. Another small thing here as we just see Pika going through that dark room, or room that would usually be dark. The hookshot also opens up a little bit of different movement options. It can save you like a second here or there. It might not be much, but you know, every little thing counts.
Yeah, we don't have boots yet, so, you know, sometimes like just hookshotting onto something to bring you closer can just make overworld movement a lot more efficient, so...
And as you were saying earlier, that were indeed all 3 items out of Eastern Palace, so Pika will never have to come back here to grab the hookshot, a single arrow, and a red rupee.
Yep, and now you'll be making his way up to Death Mountain as well. The only difference between him and Andy, though, is he has that hookshot, so he'll be able to explore pretty much all of the east side. And, you know, Hammer could be there, which could open up some more options on Death Mountain. The Pearl's there, which if Agahnim is going to be a play, like, we'll see very shortly if Andy had to come up here this way anyway, just because, you know, he can't really do much in the Dark World without that Pearl.
Yeah, this really could turn everything around. We'll have to see. It's still obviously very early in the seed, and even if Pika pulls ahead here, that doesn't necessarily mean that Andy's out of the game. But this Aga play could come back to bite Andy in the butt at the end.
Yeah, or it could just be a case of, well, once they both finish these plays, they might have to do the other plays just to get caught up, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll find out very soon. If Andy doesn't happen to find the Moon Pearl on the Pyramid Ledge, he won't be able to do a whole lot in the Dark World, so I'm pretty sure he'll be back into Eastern sooner rather than later. So far, Andy not getting trolled too badly with the blue ball, and of course I had to jinx it. There we go, Aga 1 down, so we'll now find out what is on the Pyramid Ledge.
And a map check as well. Looks like we have red crystals at Misery Mire and Skull Woods.
Oh, a blue boomerang. That's not going to help him much.
He's going to grab it anyway. You never know when those stun drops can come in handy.
Alright, Pika, what you going to grab out of here? This is going to have something.
Well...
Okay, and that bow is pretty good to find, but is it immediately useful to us?
Yeah, not really, I guess.
Man, is this leading us to Zora or something crazy?
Zora is in the logic, so yeah, that could be a thing. We still have Spiral Cave up here as well. That could give us a hammer, or again, that Moon Pearl that's, you means we'd still have to probably take out Aga anyway, but, it would be the only chance Pika has at progression in the Dark World at this point.
All right, now Andy into Eastern Palace. We'll be grabbing a hookshot here in just a second. Pika, as you were saying, making his way through Spiral Cave. This is pretty much the last location you can check up here.
And Pika still has that bottle of green potion that he found in the desert as well, so Sick Kid could be holding out on us as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. I completely forgot
and there's
about
the pearl, so...
All right, Moo Pearl acquired. So that means we either need Hammer or we're going to see Pika going straight to Aga right now.
And I think that is exactly what he's going to do. 2 items, there is a chance the Hammer could be on there, but with that hook shots, and once we do get to the Dark World, there is actually quite a bit we can do. So I think that's what Pika is going to be focusing on, the pure volume at the moment.
Mm-hmm. With the Moon Pearl in hand, he'll be able to do a little more than just pick up that blue boomerang as Andy did earlier. So that's going to be interesting to see what he can actually grab from where he can go.
He may not even get the blue boomerang because he has the hook shot, so he has something to stun enemies with at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and with the bow, also going to have slightly faster time through the Aga Tower here as well.
Yeah, it just makes it a little more convenient for him to get through here. Don't have to bother with fighter sword spins and all that stuff. And on his way now to pick up his 3rd item. He'll most likely also dip out of Eastern after he finds the 3rd item. I don't think he's gambling on a pet seed or anything like that.
Yeah, probably not. No, it's not like he has the bow to do it anyway, so...
Pika getting all these arrows refunded that he's using, that's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely where kind of having some skill with the no matrix glitches run of the vanilla game is really handy because, in a lot of randomizers you don't have to do Aga Tower, but when you do, if you're familiar with just kind of the path through it and where you can find arrow drops and stuff like that, and of course, arrow drops from units as well, it can definitely be beneficial to have just kind of that skill behind it as you're climbing up the tower.
Alright, we get to watch Aga zap that little maiden again while Andy picks up his bow.
And while you're watching the Pikapals fight, if you notice that these patterns look very familiar, that is because with the randomizer, whenever you're doing a race like this, in every seed you'll have the same exact RNG as far as the number of blue energy ball attacks and just in general patterns. So because of that, you won't get unlucky and have one racer not get any of the blue energy balls and the other one just getting 10 or something. So it's nice that the developers have kind of done that to just make it pretty consistent.
Yeah, thankfully so. I think that's really nice.
And right as Pikapals finishes Agahnim, Andy gets the Moon Pearl, so both of these runners will be pretty much at the same exact point in terms of what their next moves are going to be.
Yeah, they're really not that far apart at all. Andy just has to walk up to the Dark World portal that he made after defeating Agahnim 1, and he's right where Pika is. The big difference here might be for now that Andy has enough money for Zora already, but that might not come into play for a while.
Yeah, there's a lot of other locations they can check right now, and you got to be also thinking, like, Palace of Darkness, there's quite a bit we can do in there, and that's where Pikapals is heading, and it looks like Andy is heading in that direction as well. So, you know, they're going to be using some rupees for there and hoping they can maybe get back what they need for Zora a bit later. But yeah, right now, I'd say the only like big difference between these two, aside from just the rupees, is Pikapals did make that play over to Agina's cave and found a bottle. We don't know if that bottle is going to come into play yet, but you know, it is information.
Yeah, it's certainly good to have that off your mind and not have to check it later on. We obviously, as you said, don't know where the other 3 bottles are yet, and sadly we haven't checked Sick Kid yet. I think this advantage isn't really an advantage until Pika checks it.
Right, that's fair.
Also, one of the few instances where people dip in a pod without having to worry about it being bow locked. I feel like that's always a thing lately.
Yeah, definitely. I also did notice from that map check earlier, the other pendant is actually going to be Swamp Palace. And I've been seeing a lot of Swamp Palace pendants lately. I've noticed that as well.
Yeah, very true. It's a bit of a, you know, a thing, I guess. Swamp Palace, nobody likes Swamp Palace, but it does have a lot of items in it. If it's a pendant, it's kind of harder to justify going there.
Yeah.
Still beats a Thieves Town pendant, though.
Ooh, hello, Fire Rod.
Alright, starting out nice here in Pod.
I'm actually wondering here, does Andy okay, he just realized it now. Like, he went over here when he could have just dropped down the other path, but he did not have a small key for that door up there.
Mm-hmm. Not gonna see a bottle glitch from Pika. I'm gonna save his green goo.
He's also taking some extra damage here, so he can do a Death Warp back to the beginning of the dungeon once he gets these 2 items.
Yeah, very nicely done with the blue mail. The spikes don't care. They still do 100 damage, so that's your quickest way to get your health down. Alright, back in we go. These guys still hot on each other's heels. Andy just a couple of steps behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of these rooms in Palace of Darkness are big, and they're literally in the same room at some points. So yeah, that is how close this is at this current point in time.
More small keys. Who would have thought?
Small keys and pod, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, who's ever heard of that? Compass and another small key, so there's not too much stuff left to check here.
And the other rod is also in Palace of Darkness.
That's awfully convenient.
And gotta say, that is a good time to find that item too, because that item can literally, in a seed like this, be anywhere except on the boss that requires it and Ganon's Tower, so it's good to find that when you can.
So, let's say theoretically Turtle Rock was Bombos. All we need is the hammer and then we can get in there, right?
That is correct.
Boy.
And, you know, you gotta expect that hammer to be around here somewhere, just because there's a lot of stuff being gated by the hammer in the Dark World, so, you know, at some point we're gonna run into that.
I guess we also need mitts before chat starts lynching me.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Alright, both of these guys going back to the Dark World. Both of these guys planning to check out what Catfish has for us. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, Andy is. Andy's gonna see what Catfish has.
I kind of like this play from Andy. You want to get this out of the way if you can. I guess Pika wants to combine this with when he finds the mirror so he can mirror back to the Zora location, which is also a good play.
Yeah, definitely. Both plays definitely have their own value to them, and, you know, either of them could pay off as well, so.
Just a heart piece up on Bumper K, so we're not going to get anything there.
And Catfish has the flute!
Oh, boy.
We definitely need that for that seed, so...
That's a very good find for Andy. I wonder... Yeah, well, I guess it depends on when Pika finds the mirror, so we'll have to see. He decides to dip into Skull Woods. Can theoretically finish that all up if he wants to.
He does have a decent amount of hearts. He has Blue Mail. Fighter Sword is a little iffy for Mothula sometimes, but I'm sure these runners can handle it at this point, so probably considering that. It is a 5 and 6 crystal after all, too.
So far, Pikapal's really not finding anything great. At least he doesn't have to go through that annoying trap room. We'll have to see if the big chest has anything for us.
Nothing substantial.
Nope, 10 more bombs or able to carry 10 more bombs, I should say.
And one good thing about this next room is we do have the Can of Samaria, so this really annoying statue pushing puzzle can be easily solved with just one swing of the cane, so don't have to worry about pushing that statue at all.
Yeah, that cane makes that room so much less annoying, I should say. Nice little death work there from Pikapal, saving himself a couple of seconds. Could also just walk out like Andy did. Can also take a ride with Wallmaster if the timing works out.
Yeah, I want to say in that case, the Death Warp was just slightly slower than just walking out because, again, the Samaria block is gone by the time you're back in there. Normally, you'd have to push the statue away, so it could be just reflexes kicking in right there.
I think Pika wanted to refill some of his hearts if he's going back to Mothula. That's why he Death Ward.
That is a good point as well.
And he also getting ready for a Death Warp here, grabbing his 20 rupees. So that means our last item is on Mothula, right?
No.
Right.
You got that capacity on the big chest, so Pika will come back in once he beats Mothula to check that chest. But yeah, just 20 rupees, so nothing here in Skullwoods, except the potential for that 5-6 crystal paying off later.
And he also refilling as much on magic and on hearts as he can here. I don't think he's too worried about the hearts, but definitely about the magic.
Yeah. It does take a while to kill Mothula with Fighter Sword, and I believe it's 8 Fire Rod shots, so the more magic you can keep with you, the more shots you have for that. And Pika actually using his green potion, which he got, which Andy does not have, so that'll actually get him through the rest of this fight, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is very convenient for Pika, and Andy might have trouble with that. His magic is already very low. I don't think he's going to have trouble killing Mothula just in general, but...
Yeah, he'll need a lot more sword strokes as opposed to fire rod shots.
Why is he grabbing that key?
I don't know.
He made it relatively quick by bouncing that Gibdo into the spike, so he took more damage. But I'm not sure why he wanted that key so badly.
I'm wondering, did he go straight to the back and did he not get any of the other items in here, or did he?
Yeah, I think that must be it. He wants to make sure he can skip the trap room, I guess.
Maybe.
Alright, Pika got his 20 bucks as well, so he is done with Skullwoods for now.
And Mothula is staying in that corner for a long time for Andy.
Yeah, really not giving him very much chances, but kills him just nicely.
Yeah.
It looks like Pikapals doesn't want to save and quit. He wants to stay in the Dark World here, which I can totally understand. Probably wants to go down to Village of Outcasts, so he's walking all the way back.
Yeah, there's 3 items right in town, and then, of course, there's some items inside the dungeon as well, Thieves Town, so, definitely good to just kind of keep with this counterclockwise routing of the Dark World, just kind of making sure you kind of hit one location at a time and just kind of reap all the benefits you get from each spot on the world map.
And finishing up the rest of Skullwood's going to be not so happy about that bomb upgrade he's going to grab in a second.
Probably thinking, I'm so glad those items are out of version 30. Anyway, we did get the flippers from inside the bombable hut there in the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, flippers, interesting choice. They could have fake flippered up to Waterfall Fairy with the Moon Pearl that they found, but now it's absolutely illogic. I think Pika is really hoping to find that mirror soon.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, gonna go through the Thieves Town next for Pikapals. This is a crystal, so we do need to finish this dungeon at some point. Now, there is one unfortunate aspect of what we have right now. We do not have the hammer yet, and if there is an item in the big chest, We may have to come back for that later if they decide to go all the way through the dungeon.
Also, the possibility of the big chest locking itself. Ooh, look at those silver arrows.
Well, when you're this far in and you still only have the fighter sword, it is kind of nice to get those silver arrows, because you know that, well, at least I'll have these for Ganon.
These guys still staying neck and neck. The only thing Andy is still missing compared to Pika is that that bottle.
But on the flip side, Andy does have the flute, which Pika will have to, at some point make that play to Catfish to find that.
Yeah, that flute probably, since we still don't know what Sick Kid has, but that flute probably a lot more helpful right now than that one bottle.
Yeah, of course we don't have the mitts yet, so like it doesn't lead to any new locations right now, but still just general overworld movement definitely gets increased, and you got to imagine those mitts are going to be sometime soon.
Here's another $50 for Pika. Did you by chance count how many items we already found in here?
I think we're still missing like a normal dungeon item at the very least. I know we found at least 2 with the silvers and that $50. And there's the compass, so yeah, there is going to be an item in the big chest, unfortunately.
Might have to come back for that. We'll see if anyone does. If they do, probably not until they have no other choice.
Yeah. We are going to get ready for this blind fight. Even with Fighter Sword, blind will take still just 3 hits on every single phase here. And if you do this correctly, you can do it before even blind goes to the bottom half of the screen, so... Very nicely executed.
Yeah, Pika just showing off how it's supposed to be done here. I expect exactly the same from Andy. We're grabbing a heart piece and our crystal.
So yeah, already 2 crystals within like the last 10 minutes of play, so that is definitely some good progress, at least in the early game, but looks like we're going to be going south now, checking the dig game, probably paying a visit to Old Stumpy as well, and we'll see what happens after that.
Gonna pay $80 to that guy. And off we go. Interesting.
You have fun digging? Well, here's one you can use on your own.
I think that's a fair price for a digging game, right?
I'd say so, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Too bad we still don't have that mirror.
Just 50 bucks from Stumpy, and now I'm betting we're going to go over to probably one of the most lucrative locations in the Dark World. We're going to be seeing what's inside the Hype Cave locations. 5 chests, or well, 4 chests and 1 generous individual, but yeah, 5 items we can get in here, so this could definitely pay out.
Alright, Hype Cave, what you got? It's starting out pretty slow.
Wow, I think even Mini Moldorm Cave was better than that. At least we got health from that.
Oh, that was just awful.
Yeah. Okay, so where are you going next, Pikapals? Looks like probably some flipper plays next.
Yeah, checking out what's on Lake Hylia, then probably swimming over to Hobo, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see him finally go up to the Zora area, which is, I don't know, might be a little bad for him. That means he's gonna be putting off the catfish for quite another while, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that'll definitely be isolating catfish, which is just a huge, unfortunate circumstance just of the routing he chose. You know, it was smart doing that because, you know, if you get the Mire, you can kind of combine these two together, but the Mire just was not showing up, and with the flippers, it just made this location a lot easier to check. We are going to get the Quake Medallion from the Hobo, though.
That's our second medallion. Might come in useful. We do need to get into both dungeons that require a medallion. We obviously don't have an idea of what each of them needs so far. Alright, and off we go to the Zora area.
I think the biggest troll at this point would probably be like Mire on Zora. It's just like, well, I wanted to use that to get here, but...
Yeah, I think an equally big troll would be the hammer. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that Aga you did. Might not have needed that.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. That's right. Technically, we still don't know if like Agahnim was required or not, because there's still those 2 locations that this Zora play and also Sick Kid as well. So we'll have to see what happens with this.
Mm-hmm. If it's Sick Kid, it's gonna hurt Pika even more than if it's Zora, but let's not hope for that. We'll get Andy activating his flute, and will make his overall traversal a lot smoother. Oh boy, okay, that's equally trolly.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, I don't think Agahnim was required with that.
Nope.
Ouch.
So, yeah.
Oh, hey, both runners did it, I guess, so that's one thing.
Oh man, that's gotta feel awful for Pika though. He's probably thinking,
Yeah.
oh man, I did Aga before I came here and checked this and it wasn't required. Oh boy.
And, well, I mean, Andy didn't have the... Well, Andy did have the 500 rupees, so he actually could have checked Zora at the time. Pika didn't have that yet, so he at least had a reason for not going there right away.
Now Pika deciding here to finish up, or I guess go to Dark World Death Mountain. Pretty good choice as far as item density is concerned.
Yeah, pretty good choice, and we'll also get some valuable intel in terms of like what medallion we'll need for Turtle Rock as well. We could already have it at this point, but still, good to have that information just in case.
Gonna get a nice little hookshot cave check after we find out what we need for Turtle Rock.
That was really quick.
That was too quick for me.
Yeah.
Looks like it's ether, though. Thank you very much to our tracker.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say it was, but I don't know if that was just me saying, oh, let's make it the medallion that we don't have yet. But, so I wasn't sure. Do get Master Sword from Hookshot Cave at the very least. And here we go, Andy. You're going to get the realization that he didn't have to do Agahnim either now.
Yeah, probably going to feel as bad as Pika did just a couple of seconds ago. And you have a little trouble there pressing down on this controller.
Now, what if Sick Kid had Hammer? Well...
Oh, bug.
That would have opened Desert, so there could be something in Desert. Hammer could be in Desert.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what if that leads to the hammer?
And that is still just the only bottle we found, so...
Getting a little Mire area check here from Andy. It looks like he wants to open up Mire right away. Pulling out that bombos.
Well, hey, you have what you need to complete it. It is the other 5-6 crystals, so may as well.
Yeah, definitely not a bad choice at all. He can get through here. He's got the silver arrow, so Vitreous shouldn't be, too scary.
Mm-hmm. And, Misery Mire is just one of those dungeons where, just due to the nature of where the big key could be, you may end up having to clear it all anyway, even in go mode. So, it's a pretty linear dungeon in that right, so there's a good chance you'll find both items along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we are going to get the blacksmith check from Pikapals. This could also still turn out to be a very big item, and that might be something Pika might need to kind of get back into this a little bit. That flute on Catfish is just a major, major isolation point right now for him. Well, another bottle.
Pika finding all the bottles in this seed.
Yeah, I guess so. So just finding two small keys here on the upper right side of Misery Mire. So now we're going to go towards the general location of where the big key normally is, but may not want to check that cutscene room right away.
Yeah, you generally kind of don't want to spend a whole lot of time waiting for that wall to move, but sometimes you just don't have a choice. Pika is really committed to the whole blacksmith chain here, walking all the way back to the purple chest, saving and quitting with that as well.
I want to say at this point there's not really much else he can do, and this way, like when he's taking the chest over here, he can just pop in the desert right after that. So I don't think he really has a lot of options except just, again, that one big point of isolation in Catfish.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he could also go into Ice Palace now, but going in there without the hammer is always a pretty big risk.
Yeah, looks like he's doing exactly what you said. Just gonna walk over to the desert and check that out. It is the green pendant, so it might be worth finishing. We don't know what Sahasrara holds for us.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy is hoping for the last item in Mire here to be on Betrius, because if not, he might either opt to completely skip out on it, or he's going back for that cutscene chest that he's been skipping out on for a while now.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of races, especially just in the gold match, the finals, grand finals, where skipping and leaving an item behind can really come back to bite you. And like, it's definitely good when it works out and you don't have to go back in, but when it does, you lose a lot of time, and you just, again, much like this catfish play, like you're just kind of isolating that one location until the very end when it's your only option. It's just a huge risk / reward.
You know, it looks like Pika is now deciding for that ice palace, since Desert didn't really pay off the way he thought it would.
You know, if Mizra Mire doesn't end up giving us anything of major note, like this Ice Palace play could be the play anyway. Because really, Fluke just opens up the Mire area and that's it. And I mean, we do have the 5/6 crystals too, I guess. But yeah, like, just a lot of things you got to think about in terms of the logic.
Oh.
And there's the hammer on Vitreous.
Alright, well, that's really good for Andy, not so great for Pika.
Yeah, because Pika's not going to be able to finish this dungeon without that hammer. And, you know, Catfish is not too far out of the way, but while he's getting to that point, Andy is just going to be making further progress in this seed. So Andy definitely has a pretty decent, or not decent, but a sizable advantage at this current point in time.
Yeah, we always try to, you know, keep it exciting and not call stuff too early, but
Right.
It's definitely not a lie to say that Andy is looking pretty good here.
Mm-hmm. Like, Pika could still find something very important here, and then Andy may even want to save Ice Palace till he absolutely wants to do it in go mode, so that could always change it up, but, you know, it's randomizer, a lot of things could happen, so we're not calling it, we're just looking at it as it currently is right now.
Exactly. Pika giving these Pangators the walk forward with his hook shot. Strangely enough, they die in one shot from it. Oh, but this room without boots, so awful.
Mm-hmm.
Andy immediately putting his hammer to good use, dipping into Hera. Yeah, another crystal he can easily get.
Yeah, and I believe he still needs to check the dark side of Death Mountain items as well. And he can also, well, if he runs into Ether anyway, he could maybe jump in the Turtle Rock. I don't think he knows the medallion yet, so he could also be thinking that that could be a good place to go to.
Mm-hmm. There's also the Spy Cave play, even though it's only a single item location, it's quite close by, and he has everything he needs to go there logically.
Mm-hmm. Chat really is pointing out a very interesting thing, though. Like, once we find that ether medallion, there are a few other things that could come up, like, you know, boots might be required for something, but ether is really the main item that we need to know the location of so far. Like, we know where all the other items are at this point.
Pika just casually walking through 2 closed doors, don't mind that. Oh man, Pika really having trouble here. Andy also getting knocked down once by Trolldorm, but manages to get him on the second go-round. Pika says, hey, I don't care about walking all over that ice, I'll just bomb jump it.
That's fair. But yeah, Andy does get his 4th crystal, and at this point he just has Palace of Darkness, Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock. Still need that ether for Turtle Rock, but the other 2 dungeons can be finished up at this point. And I have to imagine this is the catfish play for Pikapals. I think he's exhausted all of his other options, so he will be getting that item he's been needing for the rest of this seed.
Yeah, at this point, he probably knows that something has to be on catfish. As you say, he's pretty much exhausted everything else, and he's probably not feeling too great about it.
Yeah, because we saw it, like, I want to say it was about 30 minutes ago, maybe not even that long ago. Like, both of them are walking by that one little intersection at around the same exact time, and just the small difference of Andy deciding to go north for this one check, while Pika going on to the east side, or west side, sorry. That's made a huge difference in this race just with that one decision.
Yeah, it certainly did. Pika decided to, you know, take a left turn, as you said. Not a bad decision by any means,
No,
but
not at all.
It really didn't work out for him this time, and now he finds the flute and probably has a pretty good idea that he might be slightly behind.
But, you know, at a time like this, you just have to keep going. Like, you know, it's still not even, like, we can't call this yet. That ether could be in a lot of different locations. It could be in that big chest in Thieves Town, for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, unless one of these guys finds ether, there's definitely still a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting chomped on by those awful little plant guys.
And yep, he is opting to go back to Palace of Darkness to finish it up. We just have Helmasaur left on the table, so this will be a very, very quick adventure for him. And Pika is going to be going straight to Mire, because that's all he has left to do at this point, and that's where he'll find that hammer he desperately needs.
Mm-hmm. I also find it a little interesting that Andy opted not to check the Pyramid Fairy. I mean, I can see why he's not missing too many items, but this might be yet another thing that brings Pika back here.
That's true. That could definitely become a factor. I think what Andy is definitely thinking right now is, I just need to focus on dungeons right now. If it's the last item I need is in a dungeon, I'm good to go, and I can go straight to the end after that.
And I mean, if Andy ends up finding the Ether Medallion here on Helmasaur, it couldn't have been, you know, any better for him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I want to say there's a couple of things, like we haven't even seen an Ice Palace yet, just due to lacking the hammer on Pika's side, so could also find it in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Very nice first Maya room here from Pikapals, and very nice turtle room from Andy. Gets them all. Oh, Andy, please be careful. I don't think I have to be worried about you, but you know, that beeping sound always makes me anxious.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, you know, Helmasaur's movement patterns can be pretty random, all things considered, so 1 second he could just be charging right up to you, so you gotta really be careful with that.
Alright, where are we fluting?
Probably the Ice Palace, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Pikapals not skipping out on that cutscene chest for too long.
Unfortunately, I think we determined that there was nothing here since Vitreous had the big prize at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Pika coming up on the big chest now, and then he'll make his way up to Vitreous while Andy is setting up for his IP bomb jump. Not a big thing for him at all.
You almost gotta be thinking that if he did have those boots, he probably would have just saved his bomb and just hovered right across that, but unfortunately that is not gonna be a thing he can do right now.
And Andy as well, right back up to the stairs since he does not have the big key yet. That makes more sense to go back up here.
And once we get past this room right here, we'll actually be seeing some new content that we were unable to see from Pika's side because he lacked the hammer to get these next 2 chests.
Yep, so all of this is new stuff for us. We'll see what Andy can pull out here. If he finds the Ether Medallion, he'll be in a very good spot.
Very much so. Well,
okay.
That's going to be faster movement through these remaining parts of the game, which is definitely really good. It does open up a...
Oh, wow. On. Why don't you just hand it to Andy right there?
Yeah, that's very good, because not only does he get the item he needs for Go Mode, he also just gets that 1 out of 22 chance taken care of as well, with the possibility of Big Key being on the torch in Ganon's tower. So Andy, I think, is in completely full Go Mode right now, heading straight to the end.
Yeah, he absolutely does not need anything else. We're seeing a mirrorless seed, I believe. I mean, we might still run into it, but we definitely don't need it.
And yeah, Mire could be pretty helpful, like even just for Ganon's tower, depending on the route you take. So it could be helpful for that, but definitely not required. Swamp Palace, not even thinking about that right now.
Yeah, Andy is going to be heading up to Turtle Rock after this right away, and then he's just a hop and a step away from Ganon's tower.
Yeah, like just looking at that crystal difference right now, like their crystals Pika will be able to get back very, very quickly. Like, he has all the items in pod, hair is short, and he's gotten a lot of Ice Palace done already. But still, it's 3 crystals. That's the difference right now.
Yeah, that is a little much to catch up on here. I mean, nothing is set in stone yet, but I'd be very surprised. That skipping out on Catfish really, really, really hurt Pika this seed.
And again, we always stress, like, it was a good play to make it. It was just unfortunately the wrong play in this case. In another seed, for all we know, the Ether Medallion could have been on the Ether tablet in its vanilla location or something. And in that case, Pika would have had all reigns to get that item. So it's just the way these randomizer matches work out sometimes.
Yeah, it was just unlucky for Pika. Definitely not the result of a bad decision or a bad play or anything like that. It's just, as you say, randomizer just works out like that sometimes. It's especially unfortunate because this just punished Pika in the most punishing way possible. Everything was locked behind that flute.
Yeah, the hammer being the big item, no mirror in sight to even make that check even more appealing. Just very, very unfortunate. It was that item that just led to where the hammer was.
Alright, off to Turtle Rock we go. Go mode in Turtle Rock usually doesn't save you too much time. If you're lucky, you get to skip out on Laser Bridge depending on your small key count.
Yeah, generally you'll be seeing these first 3 checks no matter what, just to kind of build up your key count and looking for that big key. So beginning's usually pretty similar, and depending on what you get, again, like you said, Laser Bridge, and heck, even the big key vanilla location as well could come into play depending on what you get.
I guess if you want to count it, you also get to skip out on Mimic Cave. It's sort
Yeah.
of kind of part of Turtle Rock, right?
Well, yeah, but in this case, the seed is forcing us to skip Mimic Cave. We don't have the mirror yet.
No, right. We don't even have a chance, even if you wanted to check it.
Yeah. It is always interesting to see when both Catfish and Zora both have something.
Yeah, you know, it's locations like these where runners don't really like to go because they're so out of the way or so inconvenient to reach, and then they all end up with items that you actually want to have.
Yeah, and no mirror to connect them either, so it's just like, oh my gosh.
Alright, Pika making his way back into Ice Palace. He's going to be grabbing his boots and his Ether Medallion. Probably going to be pretty sad about that, I would assume.
Yeah. He will save, like, just a small amount of time because he is going to be waiting on Tower of Hera, so because of that, he'll be able to do that while he's up there, and he can just go there before he goes to Turtle Rock. So that'll definitely save him a little bit of time, but as of right now, Andy is already working through Turtle Rock. His last crystal, Pika still has 3 more to acquire, so...
The one good
Quite the
thing we
difference.
might see from Pika here is he might save Tower of Hera for his last dungeon, because if he leaves his portal outside, he'll be straight in front of Ganon's tower.
Well, what portal?
Oh, right, never mind. Oh, man.
It's okay.
I don't like Mirella seeds.
I don't either.
And catching some more fresh air for a second here, and going right back into the big chest, finds a piece of heart, gets a nice timely refill here, not that he needed it.
I see a joke in chat of Mirror and Mimic Cave, which, you know, can't happen, but at this point it may as well be in there at this point.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting to find us the mirror somewhere in GP or something weird,
Probably.
if we even see it at all. Alright, and with that small key that Andy has left, he will not have to check the laser bridge, but he still does. Probably looking for that tempered sword, I would assume. Oh,
That
look,
would
a mirror!
definitely- Oh, wow. Well, that'll speed up Ganon's tower routing a little bit, so that's nice.
And he's also going to have to be a little bit careful here with his magic. He's only on Master Sword. He does have the hammer, which I assume he will use, so it probably is not going to be a problem at all.
Yeah, that's probably another reason why he was looking for that sword. Just because, yeah, this can be very, very tight with the hammer.
Very nice job, though. Gets the menu before the head dies, because your menu is locked as the head is exploding, so you don't get to switch your rod.
And very nicely done.
Nice double hit there with the spin, and now going for the hammer. Just beautiful.
Yeah, very, very nicely done.
Uh-oh, and Pika's having some trouble here. Oh
Needs to
boy.
be careful. He does not have a potion, so he's gonna need to.
Oh man. Remember, poof, cutting it close there. Oh no. Oh, that's unfortunate. I assume the nerves are getting to him a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And now he's out of magic to even get back in here. But as Andy is making his way over to Ganon's tower, we do have a little game going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers being posted. What's the cause of that, would you say, Herfy?
Well, I personally would say that probably means we're looking for the Ganon's Tower Big Key, which can be in one of 22 locations, and if you're a supporter or have tipped at least 250 bits of any of the Speed Gaming channels, you are eligible to participate in the leaderboard. Of course, you're free to guess the game with us, even if you are not.
First two chests, we have a small key and a blue rupee. Andy is not going to be going to the right side, going to be going to the left side.
All right, interesting. We usually see a right side play if we do find a small key, but at this time there's another small key on the torch that we're grabbing, saying goodbye to Bob.
And yeah, Pika actually heading over to Tower of Hera, probably just because you do this really quick, you get that refill in magic, and honestly might even think about just going for Turtle Rock at this point as well.
Alright, chests 1 through 7, not having anything for Andy here. We're going to continue on the left side, coming up on the firebar room. This is usually my guess, chest number 8. Yeah, not quite a big key.
Would have been nice for Trinex, but unfortunately we're already past that point. Number 9 is the winner.
Yep, there we go, chest number 9. And he continuing to the rando room. He's still looking for that tempered sword. Doesn't want to bother with a lot of spins on Ganon.
Yeah, even with Silver's Master Sword Ganon is pretty annoying fight, so I can understand just taking a little bit of time to check these other chests along the way.
Looks like nobody guessed number 9. The closest was number 6 from a sub or supporter with, I'm guessing that's Dark Sky NL. So congrats to you. Pika almost getting knocked off there. Needs to be a little careful. But with the sword held out, he's pretty safe.
And yep, with that magic refill, going to be giving Cold Stare another shot now.
Andy picking up some safety fairies without any bottles. I don't really blame him. Oh, that was an incredibly nice damage boost.
Yeah. It's always fun to watch this section of Ganon's Tower just because of, like, you know, the RNG is always different with how the enemies act, and just you can witness a lot of interesting happen just with the physics of this game. So if one room goes bad, you could, like, finish the next room in, like, a matter of 2 seconds. It's really cool.
Coming up on land mode 2 with the silver arrows, not a huge problem. Let's see if he can one-cycle it, and he does. Very nice Visdrobe runes, those are always a pleasure to watch. Alright, no GT despawn here for any. Should be good to go. Still checking a couple of chests here, still looking for that sword. But it is still eluding him. Not too many chests left. A small key, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Alright, one more chance for a sword, and then we're going to see a bunch of spins on Ganon if we want to or not.
Andy, or nah, I don't think he's gonna do it. he teased us for a second, but and nope, no sword there. So just going in with Master Sword.
Maybe he can stick that red rupee on his sword hilt. It's kind of the same, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess you do pay. Yeah, you only pay 10 rupees though for the
Good
blacksmith upgrade.
Andy giving us a little hookshot beat here.
And round 2 with Cold Stare goes a lot better for Pika. Gets that crystal and now just has Turtle Rock remaining.
Oh, very nice. Aga 2 here. Alright, 1 hour 28 and about 10 seconds as Andy falls down to Ganon.
And yeah, this is the case for this Ganon fight. So you have to use spins here. You cannot just swing your sword at him and he will not be affected. So spins are the only way to do damage to him.
Yeah, just a very annoying fight. I mean, I have no doubt that Andy is absolutely capable of doing this without much trouble, but it's just so much more annoying. This is a very great position, though, especially in phase 2. He can just stay up in the corner and spin as much as he wants. Needs to get out as soon as the bats start moving, but with half magic and cape. Oh boy.
Doesn't quite get into phase 3, but this should that should have probably done it right there.
Mm-hmm. There we go, phase number 3 of Ganon never stops teleporting.
So yeah, this is when the fight gets a little bit more familiar if you're used to doing this with Tempered Sword. Is you still have to only do 4 spins. They're spins, not normal strokes, but still, it's not as much as you have to do with just the other phases.
Mm-hmm. And that should be it. And you're pretty much taking exactly 90 minutes to finish this up. Alright, GG to Andy, making it to the 3rd place, getting $1,000 into his bank account. He finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 25 seconds. Pika did not forfeit, so he's going to continue and play the seed out. Props to him. We're obviously going to wait for him to finish before we cut this. And let's see if we can get Andy in here for a little post-game interview. While Pika making his way through Turtle Rock, his last crystal that he needs, he's probably already seen that Andy has finished. But still soldiers on.
Yeah, quite the seed though, and again, it started with an Aga play by both runners after kind of delaying it a bit, but still ended up being an Aga play without them realizing it wasn't even required at all. So, and then just one decision is what changed it.
Mm-hmm. And here we got our 3rd place winner, GG Andy. Very nicely played.
Thank you very much, GG.
How'd you feel about that seed?
I was a little nervous at the beginning. After doing Agahnim and getting blue boomerang on the pyramid, I was like, oh god. Guess we're going to Eastern, and I'm praying I don't find the hammer or the mitts. And then got the hook shot, and I'm just like, oh god, this is it. I lost 17 minutes in, but it ended up being okay.
Yeah, it all ended up working out for you. I think the very big difference maker was when you were both pretty much neck and neck walking north from the pyramid, and you decided to go further north to the catfish, and Pika decided to take a quick left turn and make it over to the west side of Dark World. And that made him skip out on the flute, which pretty much locked everything else you guys needed.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough one to skip. I don't know if I don't have any Dark World access, and I'm gonna have to like make that huge loop. I'm gonna check pretty much everything on my first go round. But yeah, other than that early Aga play scaring me a little bit, everything else was pretty much perfect.
Did you feel a little sting when you got the mitts from Zora?
I actually had a big laugh, but I was 0% worried that Pikapals skipped Agahnim, and I was also 0% worried that he think that I skipped Agahnim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys pretty much were neck and neck, with the exception of Pika having a bottle from Agina's cave, which turned out to be nothing in the end, so it didn't really matter a whole lot.
Okay, yeah, this is one of the first seeds I've never found a bottle in.
Yeah, it seemed to be that the bottles were quite hidden. Pika managed to pick up 2 of them. One of them was empty, and the other one had a green goo, which helped him a lot on this moth fight. But other than that, the bottles didn't really make a difference so much. Also, pretty much a mirrorless seat, except it had to, of course, show up on the laser bridge.
Yeah, that was good. I was pretty happy because I was like, man, I don't have to worry about, you know, dying in GT anymore.
Yeah, but I'm wondering where those swords are. You were obviously looking for temper there at the end because, you know, nobody wants to spin on Ganon.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if one was in the swamp.
Yeah, probably. I mean, at this point, I don't think there's a whole lot of stuff left you guys, you know, combined haven't checked out.
Yeah, it was either like in desert or desert, green pendant, something mirror locked, or swamp.
We had Pika check in the desert quickly and find out that it's boots locked, so he didn't get very far into it. He also managed to pick up the book somewhere. I sort of forgot where, but that didn't seem...
I believe.
Oh, right. So that didn't really play into anything either.
Yeah, and we were kind of talking about, you know, if this was like a different seed altogether, like ether or flute or just any of those required items, could have been like on tablets, and you not finding a bottle could have just changed this whole race around. So it's, you know, it's randomizer.
Yeah, I was pretty bummed that that Turtle Rock was ether, because Hammer.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, but you managed to pull out the third place. That means, you know, $1,000 in your bank account. You're probably pretty happy about that one.
It's not too shabby.
Yeah, I mean, just in case you don't know what to do with it, you know, my PayPal account's always open. Just, you know, a friendly suggestion.
It was pretty crazy that both of these last sets went to a game decider.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, all you guys definitely made it as exciting as it could be. I'm sure that if I asked all four of you, you know, first to fourth place finishers, you would all tell me, no, I just wanted this to be over with and I don't want to do this again. But it was definitely exciting for us as watchers. Oh boy, and we're getting the full right side play from Pikapals here.
Yeah, one thing to note is that he actually skipped Laser Bridge, so he did not pick up that mirror, so probably a reason why I decided to... I think he actually had to go all the way over here because of the...
Well, as we were saying, Andy, very well played and a well-deserved third place. Do you have anything else you want to mention? Anything that stuck out to you? Any shout-outs? Anything else?
It was a fun tournament. I liked it a lot. It's a shame that it didn't end up being an in-person top 8, but I really liked the format. For the most part, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely really enjoyable. It's a little sad that it didn't end up being a, you know, a live play, so to speak, but maybe next time. Oh look, there's a tempered sword.
Hey! Behind Ice Armos. But yeah, really, really nice tournament. A lot of great competition from just all the runners who made the brackets, and even those who just got close to making the brackets and the qualifiers as well. A lot of heated competition here, and it was definitely fun to see this one throughout. And if any of you guys enjoyed this, do not fret. There is another tournament coming up very, very soon. The fall tournament will start with the first qualifier on October 2nd, so keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah, I think there's never not going to be rando on this channel in some form or fashion.
Not.
Yeah.
You're participating in the fall tourney, right, Andy? Or are
Undecided.
Undecided? Come on, give us the scoops here.
I almost certainly will not if inverted ends up not being a part of it. But if inverted is one of the modes allowed, then we'll talk.
Okay, that's interesting. I think you might be the first person that goes that way. Usually people are like, well, if inverted's not in, I might give it a shot, but if inverted's in, I'm definitely screwed.
Inverted is so much fun. I can't.
Yeah, I've heard and seen you play a couple of the seeds on your channel. It seems pretty challenging, to say the least.
Yeah, it makes me feel like a big idiot. It's great.
Okay, so basically how I feel every time I play any kind of rando.
Oh, man.
Well, I hope it is, because I would like to see you to try to defend your title as well, because you are the spring tournament champion as well.
Yeah. This is also the first major tournament that a old boy Link to the Past player has not won. So big props to him for breaking that Ben, Chris, and me streak.
That is true, yeah. Almost that is a good thing to mention.
I think Chris started in 2011, I started in 2012, and Ben might have also been 2012, if not, he was 2013.
There's Jem in the chat. Can't forget Jem, also the winner of the Entrance Shuffle tournament that was put on by the community sometime last year, I want to say.
There we go, with the big key in hand, after checking all the chests on the basements. I think at this point, Pika is aware that there is going to be a small key at the top, so going to be going through the rest of Ganon's Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, he just needs one, because the Helmosaurus, never mind.
Yeah, hopefully, if another one of these happens, I won't be on vacation for one of the rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I'm sure that was another kind of thing about this that kind of threw a wrench in the thing a little bit.
Or was it a nice vacation at least?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Oh, that's good to hear. Alright, Pika getting into the meat of the gauntlet here. These Stalfos, man. Such trolls.
It's interesting. It always seems to be the enemies that first appear in the light world that give you trouble, whether the red Stalfos, the dead rocks, but yeah, dark world enemies are okay. Don't need to worry about them as much.
Yeah, it's a little weird how that works out. Also a very nice Lambo 2 here from Pika.
Very nice one cycle on that Wizrobe room as well.
Alright, off we go into the last floor, or almost the last floor. Pika doesn't want to leave any chests unturned here in GT.
Does lose a lot of magic from that anti-fairy, but thankfully there's a nice full pot right there next to the chest, so...
Dash on the first hit, the dash and a spin will do it.
Oh yeah, a lot of chatters were mad you teased the hover, but didn't actually do it on the Moldorm too.
Yeah. I just really wanted a sword.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And I don't even know if hovering and killing Moldorm is faster because of all the extra lag you make from hovering while he's dying.
Mm-hmm, true.
Oh, very nice triple there.
Oh yeah, really well. Nicely done.
And off we go to the permit. Pika gonna have a little bit of an easier time here, not having to spin.
Yeah, and anytime he does spin, he does get a little extra damage in there too, so just has a lot of options for this part.
As you can see, immediate phase 2, probably gonna go right into phase 3 after this circle of ads.
Ooh, not quite. Must have been, once again, another just like 1 or 2 hits before the last hit. Mech Dragon, the third sword was behind Ice Armos in Ganon's tower. The fourth one, no idea. Probably Swamp or any of the other unchecked locations. Ooh, unfortunately takes a death to Ganon there.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but jumping right back in. Ooh, needs to be careful here.
Does make it back to phase 3 though, and phase 3 and 4 generally are a little easier to avoid the attacks compared to the first two.
Mm-hmm. And as you can see from all the teleports that Ganon just gave him, once you die or fall to Ganon, the RNG is obviously a little bit different. It just continues to go.
Yeah. Yeah, much like the Agahnim fights. Like, the first time you fight him, it'll be the same for anyone who plays that seed, but then after that, it's kind of just up in the air.
This is looking good. There we go.
There we go. Get your GGs in chat, everyone. Pikapals has finished.
Yep, GG to Pikapals, finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 5 seconds. We'll see if we can get him in for a post-game interview as well. Congratulations to him. He still played very well. Props to him for finishing out, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to be unhappy about $500 being transferred to his bank account very soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even though he did not take victory in this bronze match, he is not going home empty-handed at all. Still made the work to make it to top 4, so we'll still be getting the 4th place prize for his efforts and playing in this tournament.
Absolutely.
And yeah, as chat's saying, major kudos to him for finishing this out as well. It's hard to come back after a lot of the things that did kind of unfortunately went wrong in that one.
And there is our 4th place winner, Pikapals. GG, Pika. Props on finishing out.
Hey, thanks. GG, Andy.
GG, Pika.
I'm not sure if I should be asking this, but how do you feel, Pika?
Yeah, you know, that was a rough seat.
Yeah, it certainly was. I'm pretty sure you already know what kind of cost you most of the time.
Yeah. It sounds like it was a decision early on to go right versus left once you hit the Dark World.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, that catfish with the flute locked everything that you guys needed, and you know, you guys were pretty neck and neck at that point, and you decided to go further north. You decided to take a left turn, and you know, it wasn't a bad play at all, as we were saying. It was just an unfortunate decision. That's how rando goes sometimes.
Yeah, I just always like heading over there when I've got the hook shot, and catfish is super out of the way at that point, because you have to go there, then you have to walk back. It's just a lot to go through for one probably not useful item.
Yeah, absolutely. And you certainly don't expect, you know, catfish to have exactly that one item that unlocks everything else.
Yeah, you're usually not expecting... Well, you're not expecting both catfish to block the one item that unlocks half the world, and then Zora to block the item that blocks the other half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a major thing, just watching, not just you, both of you, just kind of getting lured into the Agahnim, which at that point, it seemed like a very, very likely play. And then just at the time, just end up those mitts were there the whole time, and Aga was not even required for that seed at all.
But as we were saying earlier, despite all this, and probably not feeling too great right now, you're still not going home empty-handed. Not only did you play very well and made it to 4th place in a crazy top 8, which, you know, making it up to the 4th place is a feat in and on itself. But you're also $500 richer, which, you know, that seems like a good consolation price.
Yeah, you know, it's not too... It's hard to feel too bad. I mean, I managed to pull this to a game 3 somehow, considering how that race 2 went, but so I'm not too upset about losing this one.
Well, I want to thank all of our runners again, and I definitely want to give a big shout out to our winner Jim, our 2nd place finisher Agahnim174, aka Ban. 3rd place goes to ALG Andy, very well played, and the 4th place goes to Pikapals, also very well played. I think you all very much deserved all that you've won, if not more. And if you guys enjoy what you saw from these, please make sure to throw both Andy and Pikapals a follow. They definitely deserve all the support, and their streams are very much worth watching. I also want to thank Speed Gaming for putting on this great tournament, and of course Twitch for sponsoring it. And as Rick was saying earlier in chat, please definitely stick around. We've got another grand finals waiting for you. It's going to be Luigi's Mansion, hovering up some ghosts, rescuing Mario, making some money. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to my co-commentator, Slim Kirby. It was a pleasure, as always.
Oh, definitely. It was a pleasure commentating with you, Herfy Durfy. Had a lot of fun. This is a very exciting match to watch. Also want to give a quick thank you to our tracker for this race, Darak Sharnash, for keeping the tracker up to date with all the items, even a few times that saw some things that we didn't even get at the first glance. So thank you for keeping all that stuff updated. And, of course, thanks to everyone who came out to watch this match. It was a lot of fun and a very exciting day of matches for sure. Final games, the ultimate final games for both series. And yeah, we'll see you guys for the fall tournament. Again, October 2nd. Keep an eye out on the schedule, and we'll start the qualifiers for that one. So yeah, see everyone later.
Have a great night.